Welcome to Ole Walls House. It's me, it's your man, it's your main man, and it's Ole Walls. Back with you. I think it's 156 here today. Didn't double check that before I started, so hopefully I'm right. But just want to start off, ladies and gentlemen, by saying thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all the support. Appreciate the watches, appreciate the listens. You can always get us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, all those great spots. So, as always, if you could, rate, review, comment, subscribe, and share. Those are all very helpful to the pod. And also, don't forget about the Ole Walls House Podcast Network, the Full Range Podcast hosted by our guy MJ. Don't ever forget about my guy MJ over there. But got a fun show coming. We got to talk college football playoffs. Round 2 will be starting tomorrow. That'll be today when you're listening. Tuesday, Penn State on New Year's Eve. And then New Year's Day is the remainder of the games. So we'll talk that. We'll talk some NFL. We'll talk some hockey, some college basketball, some my passing thoughts, of course. So without any further ado, let's go dive into this thing. NFL Week 17, all but one final week of the NFL is in the books, except for Monday Night Football tonight. Doubtful on the addendum for that, boys. Not going to lie. 49ers, Lions. This game really doesn't matter to the Lions. The only game that really matters is the Vikings game next week, which has been flexed to Sunday Night Football. Just a quick note. As of Monday, in the past 10 days, so going back to the previous Saturday, not Saturday 2 days ago, that's 10 days, I think. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 10 days. Look at me. I can count. There has been an NFL football game on 8 of those. 8 of those. It's an absolutely absurd statement that somehow they figured out a way to put football games on 8 of 10 days over like the Christmas holiday season. Just absolutely fantastic, ludicrous, absurd, whatever you want to call it. It's just it's out there, but it was awesome. Maybe not as awesome for the players. They might have a different feeling about that, but I think it was awesome. I think it was really awesome myself. I enjoyed having all that football to watch. So, that's just me. Let's just get into Week 17 here. Because of how many teams had locked up playoff spots, there weren't a lot of interesting games outside of ones for betting purposes. One of those games that was interesting was the Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings really handed it to them. I know this game's going to go down. Oh, the Packers only lost by 2. Yeah, but anything before the word "but" doesn't count, right? That's the only thing. If you ever say something, then you say "but," everything you said before "but" doesn't actually count. They were up 27-10 going into the fourth quarter, and there were a couple late touchdowns by the Packers. They had a chance to get the ball back and go for the lead, but a little action play did it. I mean, there were a couple things in this game that just, they were moving the ball right down the field in the first drive, and then Josh Jacobs fumbles. Don't take the points with 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Go for it and don't pick it up. They lose by 2 and there's 3 points. Now, granted, the game probably plays out different. Maybe the Vikings aren't throwing the ball up 10 with 9 minutes left. That was a weird decision. My big takeaway from this is, there's 2 things the Packers need to do in the offseason, whether through the draft or free agency, however you want to accomplish this, or trades. They need an edge rusher or someone, whatever you want to call it, whether it's an interior lineman that can do it. That's not really usually where you get it. Usually it's an edge rusher, a defensive end, that used to be called back in the olden days. Somebody who can apply pressure to the quarterback. Sam Darnold had all day, man, all day. And 33 of 43 for 377, 3 tutties. He did have that one pretty bad interception, but I mean, most of the day, he was just standing back there with no Green Bay Packers near him and just picking them apart. It was impressive, and I haven't seen a lot of like just straight up Vikings games this year. They weren't really slated for a lot of standalone games, so it's hard to like get a feel. But I did hear the announcer say like this offensive line has had trouble protecting the quarterback. Never would have known it. Never would have known it. That said, Edgerrin Cooper was again, making some plays. What did he end up with? 7 tackles with 3 assisted tackles. I thought a couple of those were for loss, 3 or 4 maybe. But this game was all but over. And granted, hey, maybe you take the points and the game plays out a little different. But beyond that, the other thing the Packers need to address in the offseason, they need a number 1 wide receiver. Someone who's on the field and healthy, too. Like, I hear, Christian Watson may turn into that. Cool. Like, if he may, the only problem is he's never on the field. He's always hurt. So, 2 big things the Packers have to do in the offseason. Boomer would like you to let you know he has a thought on that, too. But 2 big things they have to do in the offseason. Pick up someone who can put pressure on the quarterback, or 2 of those people, and they have to find a way to figure out this receiving situation. It's great that there's a bunch of guys they can go to, and Wicks and Dobbs and Jaden Reed and Christian Watson when he's healthy, and Bo Melton and Tucker Kraft. But like, somebody's got to be the go-to guy. They couldn't stretch the ball down the field at all. I think Jordan Love threw for 45 yards in the first half. I mean, all in all, they were outgained. What was the total here? They were outgained 444 yards to 271. Pass yards 167 to 372. They did outrush them. I mean, there was a point in the first half where Josh Jacobs' rushing yards per attempt was higher than Jordan Love's pass yards per attempt. Not exactly what you're looking for. 7 penalties, again, a lot of penalties, and just got dominated on time of possession. And again, it's another thing I've talked about with this defense is this defense just feels like a defense that's supposed to play from the lead. Like, they're going to you'll make the mistakes when you have to try and push the ball downfield. Also, the secondary is just beat up. And I'm to the point where I think the Packers need to get off of Jair Alexander. I should have thought of this before I said. I think he's played Big Cat Bill Gardner, friend of the program, Packers fan. Okay, here it is. Jair Alexander, he had looked at this over the past 4 years. He's played 33 of 64 regular season games, just over 50% of games played for the last 4 years. And he said, I think that's despite being the highest paid corner in the league at one point and still one of the top 5. I think we need to move off him while there's still a chance to move off him with something good that can come back. It just feels like another David Bakhtiari situation where it's a guy who's hurt chronically and he's got a big number on the books and you can't get off him when it gets too late and it becomes obvious that there's nowhere for him to go. And then that's eventually what happened is Bakhtiari just ended up retired. So those are some things I think they need to do in the offseason. In the now, in what I see is that there this year in the NFL, there's kind of some levels. I think there's the Vikings, the Eagles, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Lions. Maybe throw the Ravens in there. Maybe I think you could throw the Ravens in there. So what's that? Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Vikings, Eagles, Lions. 6 teams. Those 6 teams are far and away better than any other team in the NFL. I don't think there's a single discussion about that. When you go to the next level, so now you're talking Chargers, Steelers, Packers, Commanders, Rams, Texans, maybe the Bucks, Broncos, Dolphins, Bengals, playoff hunt teams. I think the Packers are better than all of those other teams. I really do. I think if you match the Packers up against any of the teams that aren't in the top 6, they're the betting favorite at home for sure, and probably are the betting favorite in a lot of road matchups. And if it's a neutral site, they're the betting favorite as well. Out of all those teams, honestly, like the Bengals is one that like it would scare you the most. But like if you match them up with the Texans or Steelers, I'm like, okay, yeah, I like the Packers in that matchup. Commanders, Rams, yeah, I like the Packers in those matchups. Like all of that. So I think there's those top 6 teams. There's a gap. There's the Packers. And I think it's like the next. Then there's another gap And I think it's those other teams I mentioned, the Steelers, the Chargers, the Commanders, and all those guys. And then I think the bottom of the league, when you start talking like the Falcons, the Jets, the Colts, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Saints, the Bears, like there is a huge gap down at the bottom. I heard someone say this, that the league has never been more top and bottom heavy than it has been this year. And I agree. I got into an argument with my friend of the program, Jeff Slanovic, and he said that the NFL is an unwatchable product right now outside of 6 teams. I disagree with that statement. I think the NFL is still a fun product. I mean, he quickly added the Bengals to that 6-team thing there. But I mean, shoot, the Bucs were fun to watch playing the Panthers. The Colts and Giants are 2 terrible teams, but that game was fun as hell. There can be fun games from shitty teams. Commanders, Falcons. Falcons wasn't one of those teams, and neither were the Commanders. That was a fun game, and that went into overtime last night. So, I disagree, but there is a big gap, I think, in the teams that are at the top of the list and the teams that are at the bottom of the list in the NFL this year. And it's as wide as the gap has ever been. I mean, if you look at the AFC, there are 10 teams that are, okay or good, and then the bottom 6 are atrocious. The Jets, the Raiders, the Jags, the Browns, the Titans, and the Patriots are horrendous. The bottom 4 teams in the NFC are horrendous too. The Saints, the Bears, the Panthers, and the Giants, despite them knocking the Colts out of the playoffs this week. With the 49ers not being a whole heck of a lot better, the Cowboys, I have no idea how they're 7-9. I mean, that's mildly shocking to me with the way they've played football this year. The Cardinals have just completely fallen apart after being 6-3. They're now 7-9. Geez, just falling apart. So, I mean, if you just run through the week here, Chiefs keep winning. They lock up the number 1 seed. Ravens just dominate the Texans on Christmas Day. Absolute domination. That is an ass-kicking of all ass-kickings. I would not want to run into the Ravens in that AFC playoff side. Ravens, Bills, I mean, God, the Chiefs just keep winning. I mean, it's hard to say the Chiefs aren't going to be there, but Ravens, Bills seems like the matchup over on that side that we're going to get on Conference Championship Sunday. Rams keep doing what they need to do. They're in charge of their own fate. Bengals stay alive after kind of choking one away. I forget what happened in that game. I was watching that game. They got that to overtime. That was what happened? Did I make notes? I had to have made notes. Bengals find a way to win Saturday in a wild-ass game. What happened? That was... Oh, the overtime. They just kept kicking it back and forth to each other, and Joe Burrow finally... Oh! Jamar Chase dropped the touchdown. That's what happened in one of those spots. Because I was like, oh, that would have been cool. Yeah, so they stay alive. They still got a chance. Anything else of interest? Like I said, Giants win. Go from probably having the number 1 pick. They knock the Colts out of the playoffs. The Bills absolutely embarrassed the Jets. Who knows what they're going to do in this offseason. They're talking about Rex Ryan and Ron Rivera. Just the Ron Rivera one is just it's the endless. We're just going to hire the same coach back over and over and over. It's I guess at least Rex Ryan is a little more creative. But he just had 2 head coaching jobs. He just did the Jets for a couple years, and then he was with the Bills. Am I right there? Rex Ryan is only 62 years old? What? I felt like he was 62 when he was coaching the Jets. Yeah, he coached the Jets for 5 years. He had a nice little run there with the Jets. I mean, guess not. I guess he didn't, really. They finished second in the AFC East and went to the AFC Championship game twice. 11-5 the second year. 9-7 the first. Only 2 winning. He's only ever had 2 winning seasons. That's who you're turning the reins over to? That's who knows? Who knows? I don't get it. Dolphins stay alive. So there are a couple playoff scenarios that we need to walk through here. Some things still up in the air. AFC North title still out there. Ravens clinch with a win or a tie, or a Pittsburgh loss and then a tie. Wait. No, win/tie, they clinch. Or if Pittsburgh loses or ties to Cincinnati. Got it. Yep. Pittsburgh clinches win with a Baltimore loss. The Bengals They need a couple things to happen for them to get into the playoffs. One of those things is not lining up for them good is that they need Denver to lose to Kansas City, and Kansas City will be resting its starters. They also need Miami to lose or tie the New York Jets. Not the two teams you'd want those teams that you need to lose playing. The Chiefs sitting everybody, and then the Jets just because they stink. The Broncos, they are winning in, or a Cincinnati loss and tie and a Miami loss and tie together. Dolphins are just win and a Denver loss and in. Over in the NFC, the Falcons win the NFC South with a win and a Tampa Bay loss. The Bucs win with a win or tie or an Atlanta loss. And then the Lions and Vikings will determine home field advantage in the number one seed with a Sunday night playoff game. And that is just win for either of those teams, regardless of what happens on Monday Night Football for the Lions. They would, if they were to beat the Vikings, they would have the tiebreaker. If the Vikings, if they both come in 14-2, the Vikings have the tiebreaker due to strength of opponent schedule or something like that. For the Packers, they need the Commanders to lose to bump up to the 6th seed, and they need to win. So, all of that is in. Next week, after all that, Bengals Steelers, Saturday, fun game. Steelers are trying to still win. Bengals are obviously trying to still win. Ravens need to beat the Browns, so they put both those games on Saturday, so the AFC North will be wrapped up on Saturday. Sunday in the early slot, Eagles, Giants, that could be a slop fest. What is going on with Jalen Hurts? What's Jalen Hurts' injury status? Here we go. Still uncertain. He's in concussion protocol. Kenny Pickett got hurt. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, Week 18 doesn't really matter for them, so I would imagine he doesn't play. Bears, Packers, and Cowboys at Commanders at the Cowboys. So, hey, man, Cooper Rush got a little something for us out there. A little something in Dallas, Cooper Rush. Packers could at least end the season beating up the Bears. That'd be cool. I mean, 3 12-win teams. There was a chance there could be 3 13-win teams in the NFC North, but a 12-win team and then 2 14-win teams. That'd be pretty good little showing. Bills Patriots isn't going to matter. Chargers Raiders isn't going to matter. Rams Seahawks still does, right? No, the Rams are in. Only matters if they will be the 3 or 4 seed. 3 or 4 seed is going to matter a lot for the Rams and the Bucs. They're both going to want that because the 4 seed is playing the loser of the Vikings Lions, where the 3 seed gets the Commanders or the Packers. You really want to be that 3 seed. And you really want to be that 6 seed, too, so you don't have to go play in Philadelphia against the Eagles. Chiefs, Broncos, Dolphins, Jets, and then Vikings, Lions. But there are a lot of games. There's going to be a lot of action out there. A lot of action in Week 18 in the NFL. All right, let's keep moving. College football time now. We're recording Monday evening here. College football playoff starts tomorrow. We got Penn State and Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl. Then Wednesday, New Year's Day, to kick us off at the Peach Bowl, Texas and Arizona State. Rose Bowl game, Ohio State and Oregon in the best game of the weekend. And then to cap us off at the Sugar Bowl, Georgia and Notre Dame. So you got a couple of kind of traditional spots for some of these teams. Ohio State and Oregon in the Rose Bowl, an old Big Ten, Pac-10 matchup there. Texas, Arizona State in the Peach Bowl isn't really traditional. Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, very traditional there. Boise State was a kind of a Fiesta Bowl little spot for them. Penn State has played in a lot of Fiesta Bowls over history, so they kind of matched them up and wouldn't let Arizona State have the de facto home game there. But I'm just gonna and Tuesday we also have a couple other games. We have Alabama, Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl, and then South Carolina, Illinois in the Citrus Bowl. That one's kind of interesting leading up into the Penn State Boise State game that night. So plenty of football on. Six pretty solid games over the next 2 days here. I'm just going to go out here and make some predictions. First, let me just go through and pick what I think will be the winners. I think this is an easier discussion. I think Penn State gets it done against Boise State. They're an 11-point favorite. We'll come back to the odds there, but I think they get it done. I think Texas gets it done against Arizona State. I have Ohio State pulling off the upset of Oregon. I think Ohio State looked really good against Tennessee, and I think they come back and they get their revenge in the Rose Bowl. They beat Oregon, and they move on to the semifinals. And for my next shocker, the top 2 seeds go down. I think Notre Dame beats Georgia. They don't have Carson Beck. So I think Notre Dame will beat Georgia in the quarterfinal. So on the spreads here, Penn State minus 11 against Boise State. I'm going to take Penn State there. Jimmy likes to run the score up. Jimmy likes to cover the spread. I think Penn State covers the spread against Boise State. They win by 2 touchdowns. I think Boise State's just an outmatched team. As long as they can control Ashton Genty, that'll be my one kind of, little out here is that if Ashton Genty gets rolling, this game could stay a little closer. I think Penn State wins somewhere in that 10 to 14 range, and I think it's more towards the 14 range. Thus, I will lay the 11. And the other big spread, I'm gonna take Arizona State. Arizona State and Cam Skattebo to keep it within 13, to keep it within 2 touchdowns. Again, this could be like a 10-point game, but I don't know why. I don't know if it's smart, but Texas can keep games. I don't know. I don't know if Texas keeps games close or not, but I just got a feeling here. And 13 is a lot of points. Arizona State keeps it within 13. They cover against the Longhorns, but Hook'em moves on. Ohio State's minus 2.5. I'll lay those points if I think they're going to win. I will take Ohio State to win and cover the spread. And then Notre Dame is getting plus 1 point. You might as well just take them on the money line. Save yourself the vig. Notre Dame on the money line to beat Georgia. So that's what you got for me. Also, I'll just pick Alabama, Michigan here too for you. See how we do. Alabama minus 14 at Michigan, or not at Michigan, but playing Michigan. It was how it was. Big spreads all 3 games on Tuesday. Alabama minus 14. I have no idea what anybody is doing with opting out and in the portal or anything along those lines. But Michigan's pretty bad, man. I'm going to take Alabama. I'm going to lay the points. Alabama out to prove something, maybe. I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll lay the points. South Carolina, many people have said they're the hottest team in college football. They're playing Illinois. I'll lay those points too. Illinois, I don't think they're that good. So, man, I'm laying a lot of points on Tuesday afternoon to Tuesday evening. I'm laying a total of 35 points there. That'll work out just swimmingly. So, if my predictions are to be correct, that would leave us with a semifinal and the semifinal matchups of Penn State playing Georgia. Oh, why doesn't it tell me who plays in which leads to that? Gosh darn it. Hang on. I want to know what game. I want to know what the winners, who they move on to. Maybe they don't know. Do they just decide that afterwards? Who plays in the Orange Bowl? Is that not totally decided? Who plays in the Orange Bowl? All right, quarterfinals. Orange Bowl is the winner of Georgia Notre Dame will face the winner of Boise State Penn State. Gotcha. All right, now we got this. So in that case, I'd have Notre Dame and Penn State, the 6 and 7 seeds, playing in one half of the bracket against in the Orange Bowl, and then in the other side of the bowl, the Cotton Bowl, I would have Texas and Ohio State. Ooh, nice matchups. Those would be fun. That'd be a fun semifinal. Probably not going to happen if that's what I chose, but that's what I see. Penn State, again, all roads lead for them to get to the semis. This is another big moment for Jimmy. Can Jimmy get this done? Can Jimmy bring it home? Can Jimmy and the boys, Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, can they bring it home? Get past Boise State? Not a home game in freezing cold weather with SMU, but it's Boise State. Like, can you go get it done? So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You got my picks. You got my bets. That's all I got for you on college football. Some other sports, college basketball and hockey. Let's start with the college basketball. The Heels. I didn't talk to you about college basketball last week, I don't think, or hockey. I was all thrown off. I was on vacation, I was just dealing with things. You're on vacation. Your brain's not really working. I cut out a couple minutes to do the pod, and I forgot some shit. I'm sorry. My bad. But Carolina picked up a win over, I think at the time they were like the 9th or 10th ranked team in the country, the UCLA Bruins. Then they backed that up last night, Sunday. They played a tough team from Campbell, the Campbell Fighting Camels. What a awesome name, the Fighting Camels. That is a fantastic name. They beat them 97-81. Who scored some points? Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, Cadeau, Jalen Washington. Seth Trimble did not play. I remember seeing that. Against UCLA, who scored Ian Jackson again with some points. This Ian Jackson fella is putting some buckets in there. Hell of a mop on his head. Dude's got a lot of hair. It's impressive. They got a couple games this week here, getting into ACC play. Louisville and Notre Dame. They go Louisville on Wednesday night. That game might not make the main TV. Hey, we'll get to that. And then Saturday on January 4th, a little early tip in Notre Dame. And then it looks like it's a Tuesday, Saturday kind of setup for most of the rest of the way throughout the year here. Felt like they used to play more games throughout the week. I don't know. More games throughout the week, less on Saturday in college basketball. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining that, but who knows? Over in the hockey world, the Flyers, last time we spoke, because I missed these guys, last time they spoke, they had a good week where they beat the Blue Jackets and the Red Wings, lost to the Wild. They had a kind of a similar week where they played the Blue Jackets and the Red Wings again with a tough team mixed in there in the LA Kings. Lost to the Red Wings, lost to the Kings, snuck out a win over the Blue Jackets. So not ideal. And then this past week, 3 games, 2 losses, only 1 win, only 2 points. So only 4 points in the last 2 weeks has not been ideal for what the Flyers are trying to accomplish here, which is, make the playoffs, obviously. And, that's taken a back seat here as they are 4 points back of the Ottawa Senators for the final wild card spot, and 6 points back of the Tampa Bay Lightning, although they've played 3 more games than the Lightning. So not ideal there. They have a couple teams sitting in between them, the Penguins and the Blue Jackets. Funny enough, they beat the Blue Jackets twice these past couple weeks, but the Penguins absolutely laid them on them. 7 goals for the Penguins. But we got the Sharks, the Golden Knights, and back-to-back games with the Maple Leafs. That's Sunday to Tuesday to next week. But Sharks, Golden Knights, and Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs, very good team, obviously. Very good team, leading their division. The Maple Leafs are going to be a tough one. The Sharks, the San Jose Sharks, not so good. So we got to pick up a win there. And then the Golden Knights also leading their division. I think the Golden Knights have the most points in all of hockey. They, in fact, do. In even one less game than the Winnipeg Jets. So tough week coming for the Flyers here. Gotta find a little something there. See if they can do something with it. Time for some passing thoughts. A couple of things I didn't mention that I just completely forgot to when we were talking NFL. Joe Burrow has become the only player in NFL history with 250 pass yards and 3 touchdown passes in 8 straight games. Only player in NFL history to do that. The Bears' points in the first quarter. Bears' points first quarter so far this year. Week 1, 0. Week 2, 3. Week 3, 0. Week 4, 0. 5. Week 5, 7. Week 6, 0. Week 8, 0. Week 7 was the bye week. Week 9, 0. Week 10, 0. Week 11, 3. Week 12, 7. Week 13, 0. Week 14, 0. Week 15, 0. Week 16, 0. Week 17, which was that awful 6-3 game, 0. So, Bears, not good. Not good in the first quarter. The San Francisco 49ers will miss the playoffs this year. And now, dating back, it has been 22 straight years for them where they've either made the NFC Conference Championship game or entirely missed the playoffs. So, if they make the playoffs, they're going to at least the NFC title game. If they don't and then they either don't make the playoffs, one of the two. And then the last one here, teams that score 30 points or fewer in each game this season, that would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Did they score 15 or fewer? Let me double check that. I don't know if that held true to this final game here. Because they were 14-1, but they should have more games than that now. Yep. 15-1. Teams that score 30 points for fewer in each game this season. The Chiefs 15-1. At the time, the New England Patriots were 3-12. I think that was 3-13 for them now. The Las Vegas Raiders will be 4-12. And the New York Giants got themselves off the list. They scored 45. So there were just 3 teams, but they were 2-13 up until that point. That was a quick thing of the NFL that I forgot to add in there. So on to the passing thoughts. I saw this. It was on the Facebook page, Baseball History Dork. The first baseball game played at the North Pole, 1960. Crew members of the USS Sea Dragon, a nuclear submarine, laid out a field with the pitcher's mound as close to the exact point of the North Pole as they could reckon it. Every time a ball was hit into right field, it crossed the international date line and was therefore hit into the next day. But when the fielder threw it back in, it came back to today, or for him, yesterday, I guess. And of course, being at the northernmost point possible, all players were technically southpaws. Second base was 12 hours away from home plate, and to round the bases, a player would technically go around the world. Also, there are month-long stretches of perpetual daylight and others of steady darkness at the North Pole, so a baseball season there might involve several straight months of nothing but day games and several straight months of nothing but night games. I don't know. Dumb, but I thought that was fun. I thought that was cool. The Christmas Eve, there's the sports equinox, where there's a point in the sports schedule every year where the 4 major sports play on the same day. This year, that was October 28th of 2024. It was Game 3 of the World Series between the Yankees and Dodgers. It was Monday Night Football. There were NBA regular season and NHL regular season games. That was the 31st time in history, and the first time it ever happened was on October 17th of 1971. However, Christmas Eve, if that was the sports equinox, I'm going to call Christmas Eve the sports solstice, because there was not a single major sport, professional major sport played that day, and the only thing that happened, I believe, was an NCAA football game, which was, I can find it here eventually, the Hawaii Bowl. Nope. Yes, the Hawaii Bowl, which was an absolute barn burner. 5 overtime, South Florida took down San Jose State. That was the only sporting event on that day. So the Christmas Eve sports solstice is it called. Saw the Happy Gilmore 2 trailer was out. Very short, but I'm pumped for Happy Gilmore 2. I'm all in. Love that. So that came out on Netflix. They showed that Christmas Day as Netflix was showing the NFL games. The NFL games got huge ratings. I think it was something like $65 million for both games. Both games averaged around 25, and I think peaked up at 27 during the Beyonce halftime show, which I didn't find to be that good. I did see somebody who said something that was kind of funny. It's like, guys, things could just be like not good or not your style, and like, you know, that's all there is to it. And like, that's exactly how I feel about the Beyonce thing. I'm like, okay. Like, it just, I watched it. It was whatever. Like, I'm not upset by Beyonce, like, in that instance. Like, I don't think she did anything wrong, but like, I don't know. Like, could you just imagine it had it been George Strait? That was what my guy, Chad Dukes, said on Twitter. He's like, just imagine if they hired George Strait to do this. How awesome that would be. I believe Netflix paid $150 million for those two games. And it seems like Netflix is just getting ready to go all in on sports and live things. They've done a lot of live things in the last, you know, couple months here, dating back to the summer, or maybe it was even into the spring when they did the Tom Brady roast. They did a live Joe Rogan special. They did the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. Obviously, these two football games. We got Monday Night Raw starting there next week. So Netflix seems poised to be moving their way towards finding some sports that they're going to stream on a pretty consistent basis. Also, by having the football games on Netflix, it does take away a little bit the ability to, we'll just flip back and forth. You're more of a captive audience there. They're doubling up. Like, you're paying a subscription, and now they're showing commercials on football games, like, which is kind of bullshit. It's like, hey, I'm paying the subscription. Like, that's what commercials are for, is so that we don't have to pay for this shit. And yeah, they're double dipping in the best way. But beyond just being able to take it away from, like, switching off it, had to have hurt the NFL or the NBA, that people weren't able to just switch over to the NBA games. I saw the NBA games average about 5.8 million or something like that per game throughout the day. Obviously, some games are going to average more or less, but what that basically tells you is that one single NFL game drew more viewers than the entirety of the NBA slate throughout the day. Probably not the best thing that the NBA headquarters wanted to hear. Christmas was their day. And outside of the year where maybe Christmas fell on Saturday or Sunday, you know, when the NFL would move some games to Saturday to pick up on that. Now it seems like it's an all-out assault. It's like the NFL's like, we're putting games there. Like, that was Wednesday. That was a Wednesday Christmas. They're like, hey, 10 days, 8 of them got NFL games. That's what's happening. Tuesday and Friday is the only thing we missed. So it seems like the NFL is going to own Christmas going forward, and that Netflix is going to be ready to be all in on sports and live things, and we're going to be watching commercials on Netflix that we're paying $20 a month for. So, you know, get ready. I think we got 2 NFL games are going to be on streaming services this year, playoff games. Peacock, I think, has a game, and I think I was seeing Amazon Prime's getting a playoff game this year too. So the world of streaming is here. What was once promised to be a better, smoother performance, I don't think that's what it's going to be. We're going to be locked in on certain apps and things. The 2TV experience is going to be more important going forward than ever, and I can't tell you how happy I am to have mine back. We had a friend come over and help move my chair back downstairs, moved my other TV, my Xbox downstairs. I'm back. I'm fully back down. The basement is the man cave again. It was a long road. It's been, about 3 months, but we're back, so we can have 2 TVs going at all times. They can be on whatever streaming service they need to be. If I need to be on Prime and Peacock at the same time, if I need to be on ESPN, Netflix, regular TV, whatever it is, I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm so back. Oh, it's so good. Just a couple other things. On vacation, had some fresh shrimp, like right off the shrimp boat. Picked it up. All they had done is cut the heads off. They hadn't even taken the, whatever. What's the peel? Whatever you peel off it, the skin, the coating, the peeled. They hadn't even peeled them yet. Just taking the heads off. It was great. So I had some fresh shrimp. That was fantastic. Did a lot of driving. did catch a little bit of Top Gun Maverick one night on vacation, just after a game ended. I was flipping around, and it was like the range run scene where Maverick jumps in and he's like, "Range clear, range just go," and he like runs the time shortly. That scene's awesome. And then as he's hopping on the elevator, and the one guy just goes to him, "Maverick, you're right where you belong. Make us proud." God, that scene slaps too. Oh, it was great. And then I'll just end with this. I went to driving back from vacation, driving through Indiana, a little east of Indianapolis. There is a town called Knightstown, Indiana, and there's a billboard out on the highway that says Knightstown, Indiana, home of the Hoosiers Gym, where the iconic movie was shot. And I passed that a time or two, and I've never been able to stop. And this time I was like, we should stop. I was going to come back. We were going to come back and stop when we went to Royal Rumble, but it wasn't going to work out. So the roommate's like, just stop. I'll walk the dog around. You go in. That place was so cool, man. It looks exactly like the movie. You go in and there's a couple old guys in there just showing you around. They're talking to you like, this is right where you kick the townspeople out of practice. You can walk up on the bleachers. You can walk up on the stage. They take you down into the locker room. It's really cool. And they've got all these jerseys of all these different high school teams that come play there. They all sign them and leave them. If you're ever in the Indianapolis area, go to the Hoosiers Gym in Knightstown, Indiana. They had the bus from the movie sitting out there, and the guy whose family has owned that bus was telling me all about it. It was really cool. And right as I was leaving, they roll a ball out, and they're like, "Oh, get some shots up." Well, ACL here, I can't really just be out there hucking shots and jumping up and down. So I was like, I can knock down a free throw or two. Like that's my goal. First shot, I was like, I haven't really bent a lot. You take a good free throw, get a little knee bend. So I'm like, what if I just lean all over to my right, brick the shit out of the first one, right rim, off the backboard, shoots off to the side. I'm like, oh, this guy thinks I'm an idiot. This guy thinks I'm a loser. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna have to bend into it. The knee can take it. I've been doing some little squatty things at PT. We can do this. Did it. Took a normal shot, nothing but net. I was like, okay. I was like, I got to make one more. Like, I can't let the guy think that the first one's the usual and that the make's the fluke. So go through the routine, spin, dribble, spin, knock that one down, nothing but net. I was like, yep, that's it. And the guy looks at me and goes, pretty nice form you got there. I was like, damn right. We're walking out winners. So, oh gosh, that's all I got. Let's go wrap this thing up. Closing time, everybody. Just want to say thank you to everybody as always. So, you know the deal. I appreciate your support so much. I hope you enjoy this show. I still enjoy doing it. 156 episodes in. If I didn't enjoy doing it, I wouldn't be doing it. So, hopefully, my enjoyment comes through and you guys are having some fun when you watch it. As always, if you could rate, review, comment, subscribe, share. As always, a big thanks to producer Kevy for help showing me the way here. A lot of fun stuff coming next week. Final week of the NFL. We're going to know what the playoffs are going to look like. Quarterfinals of the college football playoffs will be done, so we'll have that to talk about. More football, more basketball, more hockey, all the good stuff, more passing thoughts. So a lot of fun stuff coming your way. So until next time, peace!